Check that action out. Hey, welcome back to Let's Get Cooking, Nevada County's annual cooking show right here on Nevada County Media. Highest rated on my show. Shows up once a year because we need you. I'm not kidding. Come on down and teach me how to cook. Wouldn't that be fun? But fortunately, we are joined by the ever-present, lovable, cuddly, and cute Rich Fisher. I'm your host, John Voorhees, and today, Rich, we've never met before, have we?
You look slightly familiar.
He doesn't like to admit it, but we actually have met before, and Rich has done a couple of wonderful meals with us. What's on the menu today?
Today's dish is spicy sweet potato empanadas.
Ooh, empanada, that's a Mexican pastry kind of thing?
Yeah.
Right.
They can either be baked in the oven or deep fried.
So I want to thank my producer, Ramona, because she gave me a heads up about this dish a few days ago, and I took it upon myself to research, and the history of the empanada is absolutely fascinating. Do you know the history of this thing?
I may have some, but enlighten me, John.
Well, I'd love to mention it, and you know, I don't want to tell you all the history now because we've got to let's get cooking. We should start cooking. But for example, the first mention of the empanada in history was actually during the Spanish Inquisition. Did you know that?
I was not aware of that.
No, yeah. There's a special dish called the Torquemada empanada. It was very popular. I'm just moving on. I'm just
Do you know
telling
what was in the torquemada?
You're kind of ruining the moment here. This is where you jump in and say, hey, I'd like to show you how to make a new one. No, I'll ask the questions here. You just ruined it for everybody. Yeah, this is going to be a painful one, I can tell right now. All right, so it's a spicy sweet potato
Yes.
empanada.
Yes.
So I'm guessing one of the ingredients is sweet potato? Or am I
Indeed.
going too far out on that?
No, that's a pretty good guess.
Is that a good guess? Yeah.
Yeah, the first step you want to do is bake your sweet potato.
Okay.
And bake it really well, so it's really well done. About an hour. This is quite a large one.
That's a
Took
big
about an hour.
sweet potato.
And you want to start just by peeling it and putting getting rid of the skin.
All right, so you want mushy insides.
Right, soft.
Overdone versus anything.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Wonderful.
And yeah, when it's real done, it's really easy. Just cook it for an hour, let it cool completely, so you don't burn your fingers.
Right.
And it just makes it for a real easy peel job here.
Oh, I love it.
When you bake it in the oven, it works really nice if you rub the whole thing with olive oil.
You were still talking about the sweet potato, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's I think it's important to clear that up. Wonderful. So okay. So you are. It's peeled.
It's peeled, and I'm going to be mashing it up.
Okay.
So it's a mash.
So you're a masher.
I've been known to be called that.
Yeah. That's good. Do you know what the world's largest empanada? What it was called?
The largest empanada.
Yeah,
No?
it's in the Guinness Records, Guinness Book of World Records.
And how big was the biggest empanada?
No, see, I'm asking the questions here. Do you know what the name of it was?
No, I don't.
It was called the Lada empanada.
It's a lot of empanada.
A lot of people don't know that. And do you know when they ran out because the last person didn't get any? You know what that was called?
No more empanada.
It was called. That's close. It was called the Mustanada got a lot of empanada. It's a very long history. You should. It's all on Wikipedia. I'm surprised you don't know this stuff.
Well, the research for this recipe didn't involve the long-term history of it.
No. Yeah.
So
Okay, so you've mashed it.
I have mashed it.
Is that mashed to your approval?
It'll get mashed more as I add more ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be adding, and again, hoping we can actually maybe put up a ingredient list or something.
Oh, that'd be
during
great.
this.
Now, are those your mash notes over there?
Ingredients. That's
Oh,
all.
ingredients, we'll call them. Okay.
So we're adding first a quarter cup of sour cream.
Okay.
This is a half cup I'm using, so I'm just filling it halfway, in case anybody's questioning my measurements.
So you're going halfway on the sour cream. See, I like to go all the way. I'm fully committed to sour cream.
And we have the proportions here is about 2 cups of sweet potato.
Oh, okay, good to know.
2 cups of sweet potato, about a quarter of a cup of sour cream.
Okay.
we add a teaspoon and a half of just butter.
All right.
This is already measured out, so I'm just going to put it in.
Okay.
And I'll start mixing a little bit more here.
So while Rich is mixing here, in this research that I did, it turns out in Mexico there is a statue dedicated to this meal. It's called the terracotta empanada. That's what it's made of. It's like a brown sculpture kind of thing.
In
Clay.
The sculpture of an empanada?
Yeah, made out of terracotta. That's why it's called terracotta. It might be empanada terracotta. That flows a little bit better.
Do you know what the actual shape of the empanada is?
Now you're going to enlighten me?
Well, there's a variety of shapes, so
See?
I didn't know if you had observed the monument.
No, I only read them. I didn't see the photograph.
Okay, so I'm now going to add 2 tablespoons of maple syrup.
Maple syrup. Oh, so this is sort of the empanadas they make in Vermont. Vermontito, that's the Spanish version of it. You know? I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
And these empanadas actually can go savory or sweet. Once they're finished, even though they're spicy, it's got the maple syrup and it's also got orange juice and orange zest.
Wow.
So once they're finished,
That sounds phenomenal.
I've got a dipping sauce that is spicy, but it'll work just as well turning it into a dessert. Because the chipotle and the orange goes well.
You know what?
You can drizzle chocolate over it and turn it into a dessert.
I love it.
Or I've got a dipping sauce with sour cream that'll make it like an entree or an appetizer.
Did you know that? Do you know who Mo Howard is?
Yes.
From the Three Stooges,
Yep.
right? He was the cranky one. He had a recipe for. It didn't have sweet potato, but he had a recipe for this as well. And he called it the why I oughta empanada. That's what he called it.
Of course he did.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Okay, the next step is the heat. I'm not sure where to go with that.
You're rolling with me. Okay, what's the heat?
Chipotle powder.
Oh wow!
And again, it's you can use, depending on your taste. The chipotle is smoked, so you've got a combination of a smoked and a heat. But it's pretty powerful. Just the powder.
Where would one get chipotle powder?
Most grocery stores now will have it.
Yeah.
You get a little bit better quality something if you get it from a Mexican market. And I'm just putting in a little more than a quarter of a teaspoon. That's how strong this is.
And you've been known to smoke chipotle powder. Did I get that right? You said you like to smoke. No.
Are you talking about the puff pastry?
I'm wondering, it's a puff pastry.
Well, it is puff
very
pastry.
good, very good. Oh, I tell you. Wow.
I'm surprised you didn't go to puff pastry first.
I tell you, it might give you that opinion, because these jokes seemed really funny to me at the time, so maybe that was it. Mozart was a fan of the empanada.
Mozart was?
Yeah.
Really?
He did a cantata empanada and an empanada sonata, also a toccata empanada. Or cantata empanada, I should say. Yeah. So it shows up a lot in music.
Next step.
I'm with you.
Orange zest and orange juice.
Okay.
So orange zest, I'm only going to put in about a half a teaspoon. And I'm not even going to measure it. I'm just taking my microplane here and zesting about a half an orange.
That's pretty big for a microplane. I would think a microplane would be much, much smaller.
Well, if you're a pilot.
Yes, I'm just saying. There you are.
Okay, that. And a tablespoon of orange juice.
All right. Look at you, freshly squeezed.
You bet. Nothing better.
I love it. All right, so it's zest. This is really. Orange juice, maple syrup. This really, and sweet potato. Now, were you saying this is going to be a dessert?
Well, either. If you serve it with I've got a dipping sauce I was going to make with just sour cream, a little bit of lime juice, and some black pepper.
That sounds
so it's like
awesome.
an appetizer and a savory. Because of the sweet, savory part inside, if you just drizzle it with a little chocolate, it's dessert. So really, you can go either way with this dish.
Sounds magnificent.
You want to add a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper. Just a little bit. Doesn't need much.
A little salt and pepper.
To balance out the heat.
You've got a lot going on in there now.
I believe that's all
And it was interesting that it's sort of, empanadas are really a global food now. I mean, we think they come from Mexico, but they're enjoyed all over the world.
Well, all cultures have some version of it.
Some version of it.
Yeah.
And the Palestinian version, when they were fighting the Israelis, is called the Intifada empanada.
Oh, God.
I don't suppose you've heard of that one. Is
Uh,
that a new one?
Don't
ask me what was in it, because I don't know. I'm just saying.
That was next. What's in it?
Empanada.
Now, for those of you
And I'd like to thank the studio audience for keeping very quiet during these jokes so that they just bomb completely. That really adds a lot to the show. Okay, what do we got there?
This is the puff pastry. Any grocery store has it. And it really is remarkable stuff because almost anything you do with it, it can turn your most basic chef into something. Everything looks really nice. The puff pastry is really easy to work with.
And this is new. So in the supermarket,
In the frozen section?
it's called puff pastry. It's not phyllo dough, it's called puff pastry.
Right, it's different than phyllo dough.
Okay. Is this puff the magic pastry?
Yeah, and it's defrosted a little bit, so it's a little stickier than usual.
So puff pastry, okay, good to know.
Okay, so it's sticky, so I do want to put a little flour. I'm gonna actually roll on this cookie sheet here.
You're not going to roll on it. You're going to roll the food on it.
Indeed.
Because I think that would
It's not
be,
big enough for me to roll on.
We would need a wide shot for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny that empanadas also enjoyed. American sailors have taken the empanada all over the world. It's very popular in the Navy.
Is it?
Yeah.
What do they call it?
Thank you for asking that. There's the Empanada Armada, and also pleasure boat people enjoy them. They had an Empanada Regatta once. Very popular.
Were the boats required to be baked first?
They were not, as far as I know, no. And the amount of laughter you hear in the studio right now, that's how funny these jokes were when I was coming up with them at my house too. So I'm glad they're very consistent. You're a good sport. That was a sympathy laugh. I know those when I hear them. So puff pastry.
Puff pastry, which is a little stickier than it usually is at the
okay.
moment. So we're working with a little bit different consistency here.
Well, let's talk about that. So it was frozen. You thawed it out.
It comes frozen, and you generally want to defrost it just in the refrigerator overnight.
Okay.
And that's what I did. Getting here, it obviously got a little softer.
Yeah. You know the best way to get to Nevada County Media? Practice. Practice, man, practice. Just like Carnegie Hall. Same thing. All right, so we roll it out.
Roll it out. And I'm using about a 5-inch plate here. Mm-hmm. And just use that as a shape for getting a circle.
I was going to call that a circle. I've seen that shape before.
That's observant of you.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. There's the empanada that everybody is talking about, but not really doing anything. That's called the yada yada empanada, or the yada yada yada. Now, look at that. Let's show this off. Richard has his own monogrammed plates. It says Cafe Richard.
Well,
it's 5 inches or so, in case you're wondering the size of this particular dish.
There is a little bit of a story on this plate.
I'd like to hear the story on that.
I was in Paris, and I stopped at a little coffee shop by a bus station. Not a fancy, by any stretch, coffee shop.
Okay.
The most expensive cup of coffee I'd ever had. It was like €9 or something. Didn't realize I had stopped at Cafe Richard.
Ah.
So as I paid for this €9 coffee, I sat down, saw this.
And you stole it.
I have to admit, I left with the.
Good for you. Excellent. That's the way to do it.
It was just one of those things.
So if you are going to be making this dish at home, which I encourage you to do so, it looks fantastic, would any 5-inch circular plate work, or should it come from this cafe?
Well, I have a preference for that cafe, but any plate will work.
Okay, and you're thinking a round plate.
You can do any shape, cooking wise.
Already
The
got
other part of the equation, you could also, if you're going to like deep fry these, I'll be baking these.
Okay.
But if you want to deep fry them, make them into like a smaller ball, and you can make it a nice tight ball, and they'll be freeze and deep fry really nice that way.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Yep.
Okay,
Get
so
the
we
right
now have these
surface
circles.
Okay.
Now, anytime you work with puff pastry and you want to seal it so nothing leaks out, you take an egg wash.
I don't have any egg wash jokes, so I'm just going to watch this with rapt fascination. All right. An egg wash, that's what you called it, right?
Indeed. I know I had a fork here. On time.
Oh, earlier you told me to get the fork out of here, so I removed it.
Well, I'll use a spoon.
A spoon would be good, too.
I'll use a spoon.
All right. You're very flexible with under the conditions.
A fork exists somewhere here, but not in my eyesight right now.
No. Now, while Rich is preparing, if you need a fork, what type of restaurant would you steal that from?
Preferably Cafe Richard.
Cafe Richard's forks, yeah. We once, and I think it's safe to say that, my wife and I shared a history of larceny where we ran off with a glass from Carol Doda's Bistro, which was a very unique thing. We gave it to my sister, and strangely enough, it disappeared. Yeah, so we never heard hide nor hair of it after that. Okay, now if one were to deep fry this for too long or bake it for too long, do you know what kind of empanada that would be? I mean, if it was really hard and you had to smack it with like a wooden stick to open it, that'd be a piñata empanada.
I wasn't even going to go there. I knew you
weren't
had a
there.
lot for me.
I know, that's why I'm here to give you the answer. Yeah.
All right, next.
Okay, you said egg wash. I don't see anyone being washed with an egg.
Are you ready?
I am. I'm born ready. I can't wait to see it.
Okay, we take a
I'm all
heaping
quiver.
spoon or forkful,
All right.
which is where my fork ended up.
Let's watch our language, but it's a family show. Okay, that looks wonderful.
Okay.
Painting the edges.
This pretty much works like glue.
Have you ever used glue, or do you stick with egg whites?
I think the egg whites taste a lot better than
Actually, you're doing the whole egg, though. Should it be egg whites, or it looks like
no, the whole egg works.
the
very
whole
well,
egg? Okay, yeah. Look at, I've never seen this. I truly have never seen this technique. That's awesome. And what did you call it? You called this sealing or brushing with egg white. You had a name for it. That's wonderful.
And then you just gently come over.
Look at that. Those are the empanadas I know and love. Love it. So you got to make sure you don't overfill, I suppose,
Right.
too, right?
Yeah.
Now
Luckily, this filling is not very runny, and a lot of issues with stuffed dumplings and empanadas. If it's a runny filling, it's more likely to leak out. So this one
yes,
does
and this
not
is
do
not.
that much.
Ah, right. Look at that. That's wonderful. Do we have this? This is absolutely fantastic.
And
Beautiful.
to really get it sealed tight, you want to
You found your fork.
There's a fork. There are crimping tools that are really fancy pastry things that
Yeah.
are fun that give a nice decorative shape.
Oh, I think it looks wonderful.
So we've got the start here. Now it's real important to cut a couple slits in the top of the empanadas.
Okay.
So the filling isn't steaming, it's actually cooking. If it steams, if it's all closed up and just steams, it'll get real wet, real moist in there.
Okay.
And
yeah.
So just a
Makes
simple
lot of
little
sense.
slit.
And while you're doing that, This is a borderline dessert empanada, depending on the sauce and what have you. But they can be filled with anything.
Sure.
Right?
No, the puff pastry is so flexible for so many different things. It's really nice to.
Now, have you made pork or chicken empanadas? You could certainly do that.
Sure,
Right?
absolutely.
Do you have a recommendation on beverages to serve with like these empanadas?
Well, because of the heat and the little chipotle in there, I would think something that, like an iced drink, a cooling drink, like lemonade, or maybe a mint julep.
What about a horchata empanada?
Oh,
Would that be one?
horchata would work well.
Or a beer?
Sure, beer. Well, that's pretty standard for Mexican food. Often
Well,
to have
that'd
beer
be a
with cerveza.
Sierra Nevada empanada. Or tea? What about tea? My mother-in-law loves tea. That
would work too.
That'd be a salada empanada.
And it's sort of nice to do a little decoration or something on the top.
It's like we're married. You just ignored me. That's perfect. I'm so used to that. Look at that. That's wonderful.
And the puff pastry puffs up, turns lovely shade of brown. You'll see I did make a couple this morning.
Did you?
So we have some finished ones to eat.
Well, we can
sample.
certainly pop these into our Let's Get Cooking oven, too,
Indeed.
which you'll remember is located at our feet. Or the knee level.
Yeah. The toaster oven that has got the ones that I made earlier today that are finished does need to be turned on. Don't know if
Oh, okay. Well, listen, for the audience there, what's the best way to turn on a toaster oven? Anyone out there? No one knows. Caress it gently, maybe take it to the movies, candlelight dinner. Drives toaster ovens crazy. They
little
love
mood
that
music?
stuff. Yeah, mood music. Yeah, you're with me now. You complete me, Rich. Oh, it's just lovely.
a little more egg wash on the whole outside. It just turns it a lovely golden brown.
Look at that. Yeah, that'll be wonderful. Now, would you, okay, serious question. If I were deep frying, would I paint the outside with egg white or no?
No.
No,
Definitely
okay,
not.
that's just baking. Yeah. Okay.
You bake it on parchment paper.
Okay.
Very important to do that. Parchment paper is available at all the grocery
Sure.
stores also.
Yep.
And if you don't put it on the parchment paper, it absolutely sticks.
Okay.
Generally, these will cook at 375 for 20-25 minutes.
Okay.
But keep an eye on them. Will look. You'll know when they're done when the golden brown look is. Let me grab the finished ones.
Sure.
And,
Out of our oven. Oh, let's take a look. My Lord, look at those. Those
finished
are
ones.
absolutely beautiful.
Now for today, I was just going to do a sauce for dipping that is not a dessert sauce.
And these are the spicy sweet potatoes,
Yeah.
same recipe. Yeah.
Right, same recipe.
Gorgeous. Those are absolutely beautiful.
And again, instead of the little twists, I did little hearts on these, so it's real fun
I
just
love
to
it,
throw
yeah.
throw a little decor on there.
That's very nice.
And for the dipping sauce, again, you can get pretty creative with it. I really like sour cream and lime juice together.
Yeah.
But these same ones with the drizzled chocolate would be just amazing. And I like the chocolate and the heat together, frankly. I think it's a really good combination.
Hot chocolate. I mean,
Heat,
heat, temperature, not temperature
peppers,
heat.
chili
but,
peppers,
chili pepper
peppers,
heat. Yeah.
chocolate, sour, the sweet potatoes. All great flavor combinations.
This is very inspiring because, saying is you could come up with any filling that you want and
Sure.
it would do the trick, right?
Sure. No, I've made asparagus, feta cheese, mushroom ones.
That sounds good.
A little more lime juice in this,
Oh, let's show that.
and a little black pepper in this dipping sauce.
All right, so this is sour cream, lime, black pepper.
Right.
Freshly ground black pepper. Of course, you would call a guy who did nothing but empanada jokes for 25 minutes. I suppose you know the name for that, don't you? No? Would you like me to share that with you?
Nice.
Persona non grata empanada would be that person's name. I think I'm fitting that bill pretty well. Right? Oh, we got to see. It's our first funny joke. 20, let's see, how long has it been? 20 minutes into this? It took a while. We got there. Don't burn your fingers on this.
How would you like to go for a taste?
I would love a taste. I'm using your plate. That doesn't feel right. Well, listen, let me go get should I use a fork? Otherwise, I'm just shoving it into my mouth. Let me go get a fork.
Okay.
That'd be good. All right, you keep the audience busy, Rich. Tell an empanada joke.
I think the empanada jokes are your department, John.
Oh, you want me to do some more? Sure, I can do a couple more empanada jokes. I don't mind.
Isn't that a little town close to the border of Mexico?
Oh, that's the Ensenada empanada. I see. I don't try to mess with
Just
me.
give me a moment or two.
Yeah, no, that was good. And you know, we didn't even stop the camera. There were no camera tricks. That was real time. It's funny, you know. I mentioned the Spanish Inquisition earlier. Okay, I'm going to do one without the sauce and one with.
Okay.
You know who was a fan of the empanada in France? The Marquis de Sade empanada.
What was he? Did he torture his empanada?
No, it's torquemada. Oh, it's magnificent without the sauce. And this.
The heat's all in the back. The heat's in the back.
I haven't hit the heat yet. The orange and the sweet potato. Okay. Wow, Rich, is this a homemade recipe?
Yeah, it is my recipe.
Wow, it's fantastic. Let's say for Rich for coming up with a homemade recipe, studio audience. Oh, yeah. Someone go nudge the studio audience with a stick, so there you go. Which would be our empanada. Oh my God, this is wonderful. God, it's really flaky. And this was 3...
Like you.
Yes, very flaky. This was very well done. This is $3.50 at 20 minutes or $3.75 for 20?
$3.75.
I got the heat. I just got, boy, it's really slow to come in.
That's chipotle is usually a back of the throat thing.
Yes.
Depending on your taste and heat, I like things quite hot. So for me, I might do a hotter sauce or more chipotle or some sriracha in there.
You know, I know there's different levels of measuring heat. There's that fried chicken cooking show that I do. For me, it's always whether the eyebrows sweat. So we're not at eyebrow sweating time, but that's my personal.
Heat is measured by the Scoville unit.
That's exactly right.
And jalapenos or habaneros or anything in between. But the honey, or not the honey, the maple syrup and the orange and the sauce and the sweet potato is just such a great combination.
This is an amazing combination, especially with that sauce. It's incredible. Everything balanced. That's the one thing, we've done a number of these shows together, and whatever you make, there's an amazing collection of flavors, and they complement, they balance each other so well, and this is another example.
No. Well, thanks, John.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Now, do you share? I don't think I would share. This is so good. But that's me. You know, I'm kind of a selfish person.
Well, we've got more for our studio audience to try.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if they've earned it. They're awfully quiet. So when you've been waiting forever to get an empanada, that'd be empanada ta-da, kind of ta-da, empanada, either one. Let's hear it again for Rich Fisher coming all the way down here to show us how this is done. There we go. There's some life out there. Oh, love to hear it.
Well, it's always fun coming down, spending time with you, with Ramona, with our audience.
I always like coming down after I puff pastry. So isn't that funny that you mentioned it? I guess we have that in common. This concludes another Let's Get Cooking. But before we go, ladies and gentlemen, we really would love to have you come join us. Come join us in the studio audience. Come join us and show us how to make a wonderful Nevada County dish. We want to thank Rich Fisher, who's been so great in helping us out. But if we don't get any chef anytime soon, we'll see you again in 2023, I think.
Oh, hopefully before that?
Hopefully before that. So thank you again. This has been Let's Get Cooking. See you next time. I'm John Voorhees. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Adios. That's what we say.
Adios.
Adios.